Hi, Dr. H here with Family Centered Parenting. Today I want to respond to a question that's just come up from several of my parenting clients. And now with school underway, I know folks in the South have been going a little longer. Folks in the Northeast, we're into the first 3, 4 weeks of schooling. And now things are starting to get a little bit hairy, especially when it comes to the issue of homework. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about homework and how we can manage that as families. The first thing I've noticed is lots of differential right now in school systems of how they look at homework. There are a number of school districts right now who feel that, especially with the younger grades, maybe K through 3 or 4, homework is very minimal, very rare. Maybe there's a project, but it's not a daily routine. There's some pros and cons to that. As a former school principal and teacher and district administrator, I've read the literature on homework, and frankly, homework in the past has been overdone by some teachers, has been just busy work. Some teachers use it as an opportunity to teach something new when the real purpose of homework is to reinforce a skill that has been taught. So homework has been abused, it has been excessive. On the other hand, there are lots of teachers, and I understand, who feel that developing good habits, especially when our children get into the upper grades, when there is more of a need to do homework, that if they haven't done homework in the earlier grades, then they're not prepared. So philosophically, there are many different points of view, and I don't want to go too much into the merits of which is right and which is wrong, but let's just deal with the pragmatic reality of here we are as parents who don't control the amount of homework our children are getting. They're getting it, and what do we do about it? Well, the first question that comes up is when, and what do I do to facilitate my child doing homework? Now, some families come up with a hard rule. The minute you come home from school, get to do your homework, no matter what, before you go out to play or go for an activity or go to the screen time, whatever it is in your family, you need to finish your homework. I frankly would like to see a little bit more flexibility, because let's remember, what's the goal? The goal is for your child to get their homework finished. So why should we be that concerned when they do it, as long as they get it done? So I recommend that part of the negotiating in a family meeting, when we're setting rules, that we set a homework rule and we give the child the opportunity. We say, look, as a parent, we know, and your responsibility as a student is to get your homework done. What's more comfortable for you? Would you rather come home from school, take a break, do your thing, whatever it is? Maybe there's an activity that's coming up in the next, half hour that we have to go back out, have a snack, whatever. And after dinner or right before dinner, you can complete your homework. Now, for some kids, that might work better for them. Other kids, let me get it out of the way. But if you give the choice to the child and they own that, I guarantee you they're much more likely to get that homework done without a complaint and without an issue. Remember, what do you care about? That the child meets their responsibility of getting that homework done, not that it gets done at a specific time frame in the family. So keep that in mind and don't get hung up. The other thing, what do we need to do? Well, we need to make sure that the children have an adequate space and environment to do the homework. Now let's get to the issue of distraction. Now, I've heard some parents, and understandably, when we think of distraction, make sure it's a quiet place, that the TV is not on, there's no music, they don't have their earphones, and let them do their homework that way. Well, I have to tell you personally, depending upon your learning style, I focus better when I have music in the background. I have on one of my playlists think music. So if I'm seriously writing and thinking about something and at my computer and have my mind deeply involved in a thought process, I need to have the right music in the background to help me think. It's not a distraction. I have a little bit of ADHD, and we've learned from ADHD that sometimes a little bit of the right stim keeps a child from seeking inappropriate stim. So sometimes a little bit of music, children might be very successful in doing their homework. They might be able to concentrate better if they have that going on in the background. That distraction might even help them focus. So we have to be aware of our child's learning style and make sure that what we think is a distraction is not a distraction and might be helping them concentrate. Remember, keep your eye on the target. The target is they get their homework done. So as long as they get it done, even if some children might be watching the TV and getting their homework done. You know what? If they get it done and it looks right, so what? Remember, the goal is to get the homework done and done appropriately. The other issue that comes up, and this comes up a little bit more with younger children, is mom or dad, grandma, help me with my homework, I don't understand. Well, yeah, as a parent, we'll look at that and just try to figure out what they don't understand. If the child really doesn't understand the assignment, guess what? It's not your responsibility to explain that. It's the teacher's responsibility. They should not be giving a homework assignment that requires a child to learn something new, or maybe if they didn't get a concept in that class, if they didn't get it there, it's not your job. So I recommend, if you truly feel that the child just doesn't know and hasn't been taught, simply write a little note to the teacher or an email, whichever way you communicate with that teacher. Please go over this with my child. Kevin does not understand the concept. Either it was not taught, he didn't get it, he needs some follow-up in class. That's not what homework is about. Other times, and I've heard this with younger children especially, that they will, let me put it in a nice way, pretend, fake it, that they're not able to do their homework, and they really enjoy having their parents sit with them for 20 minutes, a half hour, and go over their homework and remind them what to do about their handwriting. What we don't realize as family, as parents, that we're actually reinforcing that helplessness. That helplessness might be just a way to get parental attention. In our busy families, let's face it, being one-on-one with your child and giving them some time alone is a difficult thing to have, especially if there's more than one child in the family and everybody's busy, whether it's two working parents or one working parent, a single parent, and with all the activities going on, getting that one-on-one time with mom or dad or grandma or whatever caretaker is a wonderful reinforcement. And by giving our child that extra attention at homework, and in fact, we're reinforcing their helplessness and their inability to resolve it on their own. So I'll be really, really cautious about how much help we want to give a child with homework. The purpose of the homework is not for a parent to teach our child. The purpose of a homework is to practice a skill that was taught in class, to reinforce a skill that was previously taught, or to complete a project. Sometimes the homework is a multitasking kind of project, which requires more time. That's not the daily homework. So be mindful. Don't spend a lot of your time with your child going over homework if they appear to be struggling. They're struggling either for the reason that they were totally unaware, they weren't properly taught, that's the teacher's responsibility. You as a parent to keep them from getting a 0 or a negative mark on the homework paper, that your child did not understand the assignment, that it was not reinforced in class, and that it's not your role, and you would appreciate the teacher taking that on. So that's one way of responding, but be careful not to reinforce the helplessness. Homework, the main purpose of homework is for your child as an individual to take responsibility for getting it done. So keep in mind, again, I'll reinforce, the eye on the prize is they get it done, not where they get it done. It's your job to facilitate a location that you think is appropriate, be mindful of their learning style, so that you know what you think is a distraction might not be a distraction, and be careful on how much of your own time you put into your child's homework to make sure you're not reinforcing what I call learned helplessness. So to practice our parenting skills, I'll put a plug for my book, Family-Centered Parenting, Your Guide to Growing Great Families. It's available on my website, familycenteredparenting.com, or on Amazon. So take care. Look forward to speaking to you again, and goodbye for now.